Welcome back. It is Sunday, June 4th, and the MLB. Our four favorite picks are on the way. It's Austin, joined by Logan. Let's recap yesterday. A 1-3 day, a couple losing days in a row, but we're going to bounce back here today. We had the McLean and Rizzo both to get a hit. That was our one winner of the day. Vinny and Lane don't get it done. Athletics team total over 3.5. Logan's going to get a lot of slack for this one, but if you watch the game, they had plenty of chances. I think 1 for 10 runners in scoring position. They also rested arguably their best hitter in Brent Rooker, which Logan obviously can't predict them resting a guy. And then Nerfy Nation was ruined by a solo blast, the worst way to lose one. So we're going to bounce back today. It feels like we get to the 30-unit mark, and then we fall back lower. We just got to get over that hump, and then I think we're going to be smooth sailing the rest of the season. Hopefully today is a 4-0 day. But if you're in Ohio and Virginia, listen up. We found a betting hack. It involves a couple different sports books that lets you turn $56 into $511 on bonus bets. You can check it out. The top link in the description. Go check that out. And also, I think it's going to be dimers.com/COS511. So check it out down below. You can easily, if you're in Ohio and Virginia, take advantage of that. But Logan, back to you. I need a winner today. What you got for the people today?
And for my first pick, I'm going to the Mariners game, and I'm taking them +0.5 on the first 5 innings run line. -110 odds on FanDuel is currently your best value in this one. Now, it was just an absolute onslaught yesterday. Mariners, how are you going to bounce back? I got my butt kicked on my pick yesterday. Mariners got their butts kicked on the diamond. I find value on the Mariners money line, but I'll take their first 5 innings run line as a bit of a safer bet. I just think they're going to come out of this game and they're going to bounce back. And I like who they're starting today. They're starting Bryce Miller, 3.00 ERA, 0.75 whip for Bryce Miller. I also really like how the walks are low for a guy like Bryce Miller. Against a hot offense like the Rangers, who are hitting .343 in their last 3 games, you cannot put on the free passes, and that's just really how the Rangers do their damage. When you walk a guy into scoring position, they are so good at hitting those runners in scoring position at home. And I think Bryce Miller actually has been good at limiting that. Also, a thing that Bryce Miller's been good at limiting is the home runs. Prior to his last start, he hadn't allowed a home run. Now, I guess you could say he was due, because in his last start against the Yankees, got absolutely touched up. He did give up 2 home runs in that game, but I expect him to bounce back today. It's a good bounce back spot for a guy like Bryce Miller, because, there's no familiarity with Bryce Miller and this Rangers offense. They've never seen him before, and I think that actually can bode well to our advantage. The first few times through the order, when you're trying to feel out a pitcher, you can sometimes start out slow. And hopefully that gives the Mariners bats time to get to Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan Eovaldi, 2.42 ERA, 1.00 whip on the season. If you look at those numbers, you're like, Nathan Eovaldi is a great pitcher. I'm not going to try to poke holes in his game, but a couple of these Seattle hitters have seen him before, and they've seen him well. Ty France hitting .444 versus him. Teoscar Hernandez hitting .300, and both have 2 extra base hits versus Eovaldi. Eovaldi, 41.5% hard hit percentage as well. If he's not getting the strikeouts, which he hasn't really been getting high strikeout numbers, the Mariners could do damage against him. They're a capable offense. They're an up and down offense, but they are definitely capable. If you look at Eovaldi's last 3 games, no more than 5 strikeouts in his last 3 starts. Look, the thing that always concerns me about this Mariners offense is the fact that they could go swing and miss anytime, any day pretty much. But I don't think actually Eovaldi's going to cook them. That's what I was scared about. John Gray cooked him a few games ago. And I do like what I saw from Seattle's offense yesterday after getting shut out the day before, naturally, when I picked their money line a couple days ago. I do like how they sort of responded with some runs, because I did naturally consider their team total, of course, yesterday. Didn't pick it, but yeah, they hit it. But the Mariners, this is a really good spot for them, not to go out after getting blown out and be competitive through the first 5 innings. Again, what I always told you guys, this is the type of bet I like. I like a bet where you're just +0.5 first 5 innings, because it is harder than you really think to cover that first 5 innings run line. To be leading by 1, don't need it. They can be leading or tied through 5, and we will cash this bet. So I really do like that pick a lot today. I feel very confident in it. But Austin, got to do some player props for us. What do you got for us?
Yeah, let's dive into the hit parlays, and I got 2 of them today. Now, I do want to make a note, and I do have to say this every time. If you can bet these on DraftKings, not only will you get better odds, it is a Sunday. There is a chance that when you see a lot of guys get rested, I'm not betting a lot of stars here, but it's normally on Sundays you'll see guys get a day off just to kind of get themselves back for the next week. So take this on DraftKings, because if they do not start, they will avoid at least that leg of the bet, and then we'll just rely on the other hitter. But let's start with this first one. It's going to be 2 guys we talked about plenty of times here. It's Lane Thomas of the Washington Nationals and Matt McLean of the Cincinnati Reds, each to get a hit, -109 on DraftKings. Now, yes, I will be talking about 2 Reds here. I'm avoiding putting them in the same parlay because there's a chance one of them doesn't play but pinch hits at the end. And if you put them in a same game parlay on DraftKings, you will end up they will not void it if they do pinch hit, which is why I'm separating them to individual bets. If one of them doesn't play, it doesn't matter. Now, let's talk about Thomas, who hurt us yesterday. Well, he hurt us. Lane Thomas did. Now, also, I wouldn't necessarily blame it 100% on him, because if you watch the game, I was in our Discord, well, the umpire was out to get him. He had taken his under 1.5 bases, I'm convinced, because there were 2 strikeouts for Lane Thomas. I think he was struck out looking, because there was 2 pitches, not even close to being a strike. He called him out on the 3rd strike. And Lane Thomas, normally a quiet guy, he was chirping at the umpires because there were 2 really bad calls. That cost him 2 at-bats. And this is a guy in Lane Thomas doesn't really strike out a whole lot. So I like him to bounce back here today. He's normally a good guy at bouncing back. Now you look at him on the year, 278 on the season. Ranger Suarez, who's going to go up against, is a lefty, and that's what we like to target, is lefties against Lane Thomas, because Thomas batting .353 versus lefties, only got 1 plate appearance versus Matt Strahm yesterday, the lefty we were targeting. He'll likely see more than 1 plate appearance versus Ranger Suarez. He's also batting .297 at home, and you look at Suarez allowing a .339 batting average to right-handed batters. So you look at Lane Thomas, a righty. Ranger Suarez actually been pretty decent versus left on that lefty-on-lefty matchup, but we don't have to worry about that here because Thomas is a righty. I really like him to bounce back. Has a hit in 16 of his last 18. Hasn't gone back-to-back games without a hit, because I think May 19th, I think it was actually April 9th. It's been a long time since he went back-to-back games. So I like him to get it done. The top 3 pitches he's going to see are going to be a sinker, changeup, and fastball. You look at Thomas batting .348 versus sinkers, .217 versus changeups, .281 versus 4-seamers. Look, he's going to have his chances. I think he gets it done. Now, the next guy up, Matt McLain. We love him here. He's been really consistent for us. Called up by the Reds in May, and he's been cooking. I mean, he's batting .333 on the season, .361 in May. He's hitting .308 versus right-handed pitchers, and Adrian Hauser's going to start for the Milwaukee Brewers, is a righty, and he's allowed a .317 batting average versus right-handed batters. So we look at Hauser. He's he's been good at home. He's had some good starts in there, but normally notoriously bad on the road where he finds himself today. He also throws predominantly the following pitches: sinker, four-seam fastball, and a slider. That's about 85% of the pitches that McLain's going to see. McLain hitting the .529 versus the sinker, his best pitch that he's seen. .316 versus four-seamers and .300 versus sliders. Look, McLain's been doing it all year long for us since he got called up. We're just going to keep riding with the hot hand. He's really been doing really well. Bat normally number 2 in the lineup for the Reds. He's easily getting it done. Now, let's move on to the next game, and technically we're going to stay in the same game, but on a different parlay, because we're going to another Reds guy and a Colorado Rocky. It's going to be Spencer Steer of the Reds, Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies, each to record a hit, -108 on DraftKings. Now, if you don't have, a DraftKings or a FanDuel and you're in a non-legal betting state, I always say to go play these on Sleeper. Sleeper also has the ability to bet those over 0.5 hits for these guys. So if you're not in a legal betting state, that's probably where you want to go. But let's talk with these two guys, because we've talked about Steer before. He's obviously a guy we've trusted, and he's clutched up for us. He's hitting 292 on the season. He did hit a little bit better in May. I think he was right around like the 280 mark, 318 mark in May. And he's batting 289 versus right-handed pitchers. So, look, he's been able to get it done. 298 versus lefties. And I just think he's going to be able to get it. I mean, he gets it done against righties or lefties. Doesn't really matter who's up at pitching to him. And like we talked about, Adrian Hauser allowing a 317 batting average versus right-handed batters. And as we talked about the pitches that he's going to see, you see straight Steer hitting 300 versus sinkers, 300 versus four-seamers, 255 versus sliders. Is a guy that in Steer that really hasn't shown a lot of weakness in terms of pitches that are coming his way. He's been really consistent. We're going to keep riding with Spencer Steer, who maybe moves up in the lineup, since they always move him down to like the 5 or 6, and then they move him back up to like 3 or 4. They're always messing around with the lineup. Now let's talk about Charlie Blackmon, who we haven't really talked about this much. And look, I normally don't want to take a lot of Rockies when they're away from Coors Field, but I have confidence in Blackmon to get it done today. And he's typically going to bat lead off for this Rockies offense. And when they're on the road, there's good chances he sees 5 or more plate appearances at bats, and we're just kind of betting on him to at least get us 1 hit. Now, you look at Blackmon on the year, batting 276, hit 300 in May, so he's really good. Now, obviously, his numbers are going to be worse on the road because you're not hitting in Coors Field, but I'm still confident he can get it done facing Brady Singer. Now, Singer allowing a 294 batting average versus lefties, and Blackmon's a lefty, but you're also allowing like a 297 batting average versus righties. This is a guy in Stinger that's really struggled out of the gates, and he does have a tendency to walk guys. He's going to walk some batters today. That's not so bold prediction. He will walk some guys. Blackmon not really known for being a huge walk guy. Only has 13 walks in 148 plate appearances versus right-handed pitchers. So, look, there's always a risk that he goes out there and walks. Sure, that's kind of frustrating, but I still think Blackmon's going to have his chances here, especially with that Royals bullpen, because the bullpen isn't great either. You look at the pitches he's going to see. Singer, really a two-pitch dominant guy. He's really throwing 54% sinkers, 39% sliders. That's almost 93% of the pitches that Blackman's going to see at the plate. Now, Blackman is only hitting 222 versus sinkers, but a 288 expected batting average, so some regressions coming there for him, and 286 for sliders. So I really like him. I think Blackman's going to get 5 plate appearances today. Just banking on him getting 1 hit, and I certainly think he can get it done. He's not like a guy that's normally trying to hit a home run. He's always trying to kind of spray it into the outfield. That's why he bats leadoff. They're just trying to get him on base, let him go to get around the bases. Either way, I really like Charlie Blackman and Spencer Steer each to record a hit, -108 on DraftKings. Let's take a stab at that. Logan, you know what time it is. Grab out the flags. It's Nerfy Nation time. We're trying to go for 6 outs. We had hit 3 in a row, lost yesterday, but we're starting another 3-game win streak today because we're going to do one of our Nerfy Goats. And here it is. Athletics and Marlins taking the no-run first inning, -115 on Caesars. Now, I play this right around -130, and when I say Nerfy Goat, it's because our boy Sandy Alcantara is on the mound for the Marlins, and when he's on the mound, look, we feel pretty confident getting it done. Now, you look at Sandy, 10-1 on no-run first innings. He's been really solid this season. The Athletics are a team that are 27th in first inning runs. Now, it would be on brand for the Athletics offense to show up today and score in the first inning. That could happen. Like, it wouldn't surprise Logan or I, but we trust Sandy to get out of jams. He's been bases loaded, 0 outs before, and got out of jams there. We certainly think he can get us 3 outs. Who's on the other side for us?
Yeah, it's Paul Blackburn. He's starting for the Athletics today. Blackburn 0-1 on Nerfies this year. Yes, he just came back from injury, so there's not a big sample size for him. He's a decent pitcher, and I think he actually can navigate his way through this Marlins top half of the order. If you look at the Marlins, they're 29th in first inning runs. Who usually does the damage in the Marlins order? It's usually Luis Arraez getting on base. If Arraez gets out, I feel really good about this one. Don't toss any meatballs to Soler to hit. And I think we should stand a really good chance of cashing this one. The over-under set to 7.5. Look, guys, I watched some of that Marlins A's game yesterday because I hate my life, and I hated every minute of my watching experience. And the A's definitely had runners in scoring position in that last game. And if they score in the first inning today, I'll be down bad like you never seen. But I think Nerfy Nation, we stand a really good chance of cashing this one. Sandy, do your job. Paul, do your job. Let's fight these flags.
Yeah, let's get it done. Luis Arraez is doing out. He went 5 for 5 yesterday. So let's cash this no-run first inning. We think it's a good one. Blackburn was pretty good last year on Nerfy. So let's go 4-0. Let's have a big bounce back day. A great start to the new week. If you want to check out that betting hack in Ohio or Virginia, top link in the description. You want to check out our NBA Finals Game 2 picks. It's on the screen. We're going to have a great day. We'll see you guys back on Monday morning. We'll see you guys then. Peace.